Hey guys, so it's much later now. It's been a few weeks, unfortunately, since we got back to it, but we're back on working at the Ranger. Today we need to get some brake pads done. I need to do an alignment, so I'll be doing it just with a tape measure, and I've got a couple of things I looked up actually to make sure that everything's good. But last time you guys saw this, I just slapped the pads back in. Unfortunately, it got kind of late, and we just had to keep going. So I'm going to crack into this. Unfortunately, it is extremely hot, so I am extremely sweaty. It's not even just so much the heat, but it's also the humidity. So that is the master cylinder. I took the cap off so that so basically it could do that exactly as it's doing right now. Well, brakes are done. So for the next part, we're going to need to grab a couple of tools right here. We got two adjustable wrenches, then we got a grippy, as well as a tape measure. We are going to do a front end alignment on this. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down all the specifications that I can find. I actually already printed out everything and made a handy dandy little sheet to show exactly what the specifications are. For this one, I found this just online. I found this in another YouTube video as well that was super helpful. So it looks like the front toe, the minimum spec is 0.073. The maximum spec is 0.19 of a degree. So with that being said, here's the degree spec. Here's how that correlates to inches. So job one though is getting the wheel straight. So right now I have it straight up there. It's kind of tilted in here. And if we come over here, it's kind of tilted out over here. So I'm going to tow both of them in so that we get everything. I'm sorry, I'm going to tow that one in and I'm going to tow this one out just ever so much just to get it somewhat straight. But first, I'm going to take the measurement from all the way across. Real quick, here's a real layman's way of being able to figure out how to do this. So you're going to measure from the same spot on both tires. So imagine this the driver's side, this is the passenger side. So if we're going to start right here, that means that we are going to go across and we are going to measure directly right there. So in this instance, just like that, it is 11 inches. Okay, so you do this on the front and on the rear of the tire on the actual vehicle, because then you can measure your then you can measure to see what the distance is. Now, for example, if I kick this wheel out just like this, okay, obviously this is kind of crazy, and we measured right across like that, keeping it nice and straight. Let's say we've got 17 3/4. Well, on the back side, we measure and we see we have 13 1/2. So even if you were to cut those in half to get them straight, in this regard, we'd be at what, 16 1/2 inches, give or take. So I just kind of straighten that up right there. Let's say that one is at 15 3/8, let's say. And that one is at 16 1/4. So again, you just keep working it back and forth like that just to get it pretty much precise. So in my instance, and let's see right there is 15 3/4, and that one is 15 3/4. See, just very easy. So the difference between mine, which the min and max spec, if we walk back over here, okay, the min and max spec, remember this is between 5/64 and 1/32. So 1/32, this is negative 1/32, would be 2/64. So the grand total here would be 7/64 is the entire amount of swing that you can have from side to side. So with that being said, I mean, we're talking very, 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 very tiny. I mean, if we were to do this as an eighth here, an eighth would be 8/64, 8/64. Okay, so that would still be 1/64 out of spec of the total range up here. So we're talking less than an eighth of an inch. So you're going to want to take your time, grab your measurements, write them down, right front and rear. I'm probably going to also grab a little chalk, a little white chalk, tire chalk, so I can measure exactly where I'm measuring to get them pretty much right every single time. And then once I make my adjustments, I'm actually just going to jack the truck up, and then let the tires reset, come back down, and try to get them right where they just were. So let me get working on that. Actually almost got ahead of myself. So we are going to pick this outermost tread right here. Okay. Pulling it tight, we have 62, 1/64. Okay. Okay, now again, trying to keep it as straight as possible. You know, even if I were to bring it up here, as you can see, right there would be 64 inches, right there's 65. So we have 64. Okay, yep, 64. That would be a half. We're not quite at a half. We're not about a quarter. So 3/8. Yeah, 64 and 3/8. So we have 62 and 64 and 3/8. We said 62 and 1/64. Okay, and we're at 64, and we're going to say 3/8. It's going to be 24/64. So as you can see, we've got a lot of ground to make up right there. And if this is off by 64th, that's okay. We have a total range of 7/64 right here. So I need to dial this in almost a full inch based off everything that I am seeing here. And yeah, so I'm going to get cracking on that. Okay. That matters right there, but that'll be fine as it is right there. So we want to bring this in. Therefore, we want to thread the actual piece in. I'm going to jack up this side of the truck Just gonna jack right here. It'll make bringing this up and over considerably easier. I'm gonna do it by eye first, and then I'll circle back and measure. Okay. That's one. And I did this wrong, I'm sorry. You're going the other way on this tire, that's the problem. That's one. We're going to start off this one by doing 2, and then we'll remeasure. Actually, we're going to probably try to get these straight first. But we'll start out with 2 to see where we're at. Okay. That is 2 right there, maybe 2 and a bit. If we look, I think it still needs to come out a little ways. So it is not touching the ground at all. Let's make sure. Oh, okay. Just a little bit, or it's the new brake pads actually. Okay, let's look at it one more time. Yeah, we want to get this a little bit more straight. Okay, that's 3. To me, it still needs more. So we're going to go 2 more. That's going to be a grand total of 5. That's 4. That's 5. Let me put this down. That's pretty good. Okay, that's pretty good actually. So, okay. So, for right now, we're going to turn this jam nut back tight and go to the other side. Okay, this one we're going to want to go out based on everything that we're seeing. So I'm going to mark this again. Yeah, we want to make it real nice and evident.
As well as I'm going to mark the ground this time as well, if you guys can see that. And on second thought, I'm going to remeasure because looking at it again, this side does not seem nearly as much, and we knew we were off because of the measurements that we took before. So I am going to remeasure. And again, this will be easier if you have a street tire. Unfortunately, I don't because I have to pick something like this area to be able to grab onto, and that makes it very, very difficult to find a reliable place to do this. Come on. This would also be much easier with two people. Okay, so, and I had measured the first time wrong. Okay, so again, it's a learning experience. Okay, so the real measurement number, oh boy, give me a minute. Okay, so I placed it right there on the other side. So in this instance, we are looking at 59 and 3. Oh, okay, so I'm sorry, 59 and 3/16 is what we're looking at. I apologize. I thought that I had a higher resolution gauge. These are 16ths. I apologize. So 59 and 3/16 on the front. Let's do the rear. So we have made progress. Okay, so we are at 13/16 on this one. Okay, in theory, let's see. Yep, we're at 13/16 and 11/16. So in theory, we could do maybe an eighth of a turn, and it should be perfect. We can go do that real quick. But to be honest, man, this is so close. I mean, if I pull it nice and tight, we're at 3/4. I'm probably just gonna lock this down because you know what? This is gonna be good enough for me, and it should drive down the road nice and straight without any issues.
We're gonna torque the wheels. Torque spec on these is 100 foot-pounds. All right, well that should be this should just be out do it on this one. As you can see, much more straight and significantly more straight. So I'm gonna test drive the truck, make sure everything's good. But beyond that, we should be cooking. Still need to do a radio on that. I might still do that tonight and include it in the video, not sure. As well as we do need to include this belly pan. Sammy actually did an awesome job painting it with some enamel paint. Turned out great, it's gonna match. It'll actually go right down there, cover up all the sensitive itty bitties. So we'll be in good shape. So now just to finish it up, I started driving this. Fortunately, my 2012 80 Spider injector, which I have that on order. That'll probably be a separate video as well. So I got to get that coming in and start working on it. But if I add the radio, then you'll see that shortly. If not, see you guys next time. Bonus time. We're going to try to do the radio real quick. It's an 8. Gosh, is it a 7? Oh. Third time's the charm.
With radios, I really like to go slow. It's pretty straightforward to pull them out. So, this is going to be your standard single DIN that I am pulling out. I also happen to be putting in another single DIN, but I'm putting in a slightly different one. So, this one right there. Those, however, I am a big fan of these. So these are from Boss Audio, which for years kind of joked around to be like a cheaper brand that has issues and stuff like that. I have 2 of these radios. I actually installed one in a buddy's truck, and he liked it so much he bought another one for his motorhome. So they're extremely easy to use. There's virtually no issues with them whatsoever. I had one issue that was a failure of a capacitor, where the capacitor actually came free and was kind of bouncing around the cage, and basically it would lose audio, and they took care of me, no questions asked. So really it's hard to fault them when they've got good customer service. So the trick is just take a flathead screwdriver and bend down a couple of these tabs wherever you can, where there's some room, where you're not going to run into other plastics and stuff. The tighter that you can get the scroll cage, the less issues you're going to have from losing audio to, like, if for whatever reason you still listen to CDs. That was a big issue, was the radio loose, the CDs would skip like crazy. So like basically if you just go through, double check to make sure that it's everything's fully seated and fully in there, you'll usually be in a pretty good spot. Okay, so from there I like to run these through. The Boss radios have these really nice USB extensions, so you don't have USBs in the front because it's got a floating 7-inch display. I'm one of the people that kind of sets his HVAC. It doesn't really touch it a whole lot, or if I touch it I don't really mind, so it just clips in nice and easily like this. Here, boom, float up and down, side to side like that. So if I want, I can go like this, or I can go all the way down. It kind of, kind of up to you. Makes it pretty nice and easy, especially in these ones that are traditionally like a single DIN. Really helps clean them up. So let's make sure this is all popped in here, and then boom, just like that. Okay, perfect. Let's go back to the truck. Okay, so we've got everything mounted up now. I can get access to this, but again, I'm not really too particular on that, because again, once I have these set, so, I'll probably set that right there, and then have the AC cooking out of here. The very last thing we got to do is just pull this forward, just so this is the cigarette lighter for the the USB for the Apple CarPlay. And we are trying to get this to fit in right now so that it's out of the way. There we go. And then we can just move that. Okay. So one last connection and we are home free. I'm gonna grab it. Well guys, it's finally all together. So here's what we're looking at. And as you can see, give it a second. Boom. Turns on, nice and simple. Give it a minute. Perfect. Awesome. All right, well that's it. Thank you guys for joining me and have a great night. it.